All right, so if it's Jimmy G, right? Let's circle back. Let's get to Jimmy G and whether or not other teams are interested. You look around the league, maybe Chicago with Andy Dalton might be interested, but again, now you're paying $35 million for the quarterback position. I don't know if Chicago is in that area to do that. Washington with Ryan Fitzpatrick would be another team that could be interested. The Denver Broncos, John Elway. Are other teams a threat? If Jimmy G is officially put on the trade block, and let's say the Patriots are interested, are other teams a threat to New England?
I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that a team like New Orleans, even though uh,
Mm,
I don't think they're a serious threat at the end of the day. Not only what they've invested in the quarterback position, but and people will say, people like Felger will say, "Oh, forget the salary cap." This is really a time when they're leveraged to the hilt as far as the salary cap. There's really no other moves that they can make to get Jimmy at close to his current value under that cap. There's just no. I don't think there's any chance. I think if as far as like real suitors that could be involved, I think you have to look at the Panthers because they're so desperate for a quarterback. And now with these trades, they might be on the outside looking in.
is
I
he?
think
Let me cut you off for a minute, Greg. Is Jimmy G an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater?
yes,
Okay,
way better. Yeah, I mean, and trust me, uh, they're done with Teddy. They've seen enough. They saw enough at about midseason. Okay, so and plus you have people in that front office who have been in New England who know Jimmy, who were around when they drafted him and things like that. So they have intel there on Jimmy.
great point.
I think that Carolina is a threat. I think that Washington is a threat. But I think at the end of the day, when you're Don Yee and you're the agent, you have to look at all these scenarios. And yes, Chicago, Denver, those teams will come up. But when you're Don Yee, you have to go to Jimmy and you have to look at the situations. You have to say, look, you're going to be 30, okay? There, you're next. Let's engineer this, but you're only going to get one shot at this, okay? Because the Patriots traded you, even though that was different circumstances. The 49ers said you're not good enough, and we're trading 3 first-round picks to get your successor. And now, if you go to someplace else and it doesn't work, then you're screwed. What's the best situation? Chicago, Pace and Nagy are closer to getting fired than they are to winning the Super Bowl. Like this is it for them. If they don't win,
Yep.
they're gone. They almost just got fired. Vic Fangio, there's a new GM, George Payton came into Denver. If Fangio doesn't win this year, he's probably not back next year. The Washington is a circus all the time. Now, if you're looking for stability in terms of uh, a place that's going to give you what you need to grow and also stability at the coaching position, you have to look at Carolina and Matt Rule, but that's a place that will always be looking for their franchise guy. I'm sure Tepper, the owner, is going to be everybody's ear. Like Jimmy's fine and all, but we need to get the guy.
Yes.
That sort of things. But to me, at the end of the day, for Jimmy to be successful, it's no contest that it's coming back to New England with now they have restocked the roster with Belichick, with McDaniels, where for 6 glorious quarters you lit the world on fire. Come back and do that again. To me, it's no contest what the best situation is for Jimmy.
What is he worth? If you're the Patriots, what are you willing to put on that table for Jimmy G right now?
Great question. Um, and you also have to look at it from how does San Francisco save face?
Right.
Because they can't. I think it's got to be what New England got in return. It's got to be a second round pick. It's got to be somewhere there, maybe like a second. And if San Francisco is really being a pain in the ass, then you give them like a conditional fifth or what have you. If they're really being difficult, I might flip the bird at them, tell them to go screw, and good luck with that scenario that you have working out where you're going to replace Jimmy where he's 8-0. And that's the thing. Jimmy has to realize that even if he plays great, to justify what they did, and you also talked about the contract, like you don't trade that much not to get the full value of the rookie quarterback contract. That's the
Yep.
whole appeal. Not
Yep.
having a $25 million caddy. That's the whole appeal to the thing. You say, all right, we're going to go get the guy. We can save money there for 5 years or what have you, and we could build the team around. That's the path to go. And they're congrats on them being bold, but you don't get a $25 million backup. And so I think that's all part of the conversation. But I think it's a second round pick, maybe another conditional. If they're really getting horny and Belichick really wants them, maybe you go conditional first round pick next year because the Patriots figure to be good and they just say, all right, well, fine. If he starts 16 games, we'll give you a 2022 first round pick. Like, we don't think he's going to do that, but that's possible.
That's too rich for my blood. I'd be willing to give them the compensatory pick in the third round. Maybe you could talk me into making that a conditional second, depending on if he plays, 14, 15, 16 games. Maybe I slide it up to a second. But I mean, listen,
That's fair.
We know what he was last time when he was dealt, right? Like, everybody was buying into the hype. Everybody was talking about, oh, Tom Brady's pupil. And, he learned under the tree of Belichick. And you just see the 6 quarters that he played that you mentioned. Well, now we know. We have a lot of film on him. And I am not the biggest Jimmy G guy in the world. I'm really not. I think he's average. And I might even argue he's average at best. Now, with the New England system and stuff, maybe they coach him up. Maybe he's better. But from what I've seen in San Francisco, he turns the football over too much. He's not very good at reading linebackers in the middle of the field, which is kind of interesting if you're going to try to attack the middle of the field like the Patriots look like they're going to. He's been injured constantly. He can't stay on the field. And when he's been put in a big moment, he has either been not asked to be the guy or he's failed. So I think I'm drawing the line at a compensatory third. If he plays 15, 16 games, that can slide up to a conditional second in 2022. I'm not going to give too much for Jimmy G. I think people are more in love with the name than the player.